today we're with Larissa, who's spread more awareness about the Black Lives Matter movement than the rest of my friends combined on an Instagram story. And then we've also got Temi, who just spits straight facts.
Most people I'm seeing who are using the All Lives Matter thing aren't actually using it to say All Lives Matter. They're really just using it to counteract Black Lives Matter. They're not like there's only been one, maybe two posts where I've seen where they were like All Lives Matter. This is happening in this country. This is happening in this country. This is happening here. We should target all of them. And with those two posts that I did see, I do agree with them. But with pretty much every other post I've seen, they've just been like, you shouldn't be saying Black Lives Matter, you should be saying All Lives Matter because they do. But they're not actually trying to spread awareness about how other lives are being affected. They're specifically just trying to block out people saying that Black Lives Matter and how we can help Black Lives Matter. To Black Lives Matter, we're not saying only Black Lives Matter, we're saying Black Lives Matter too, because those are the lives that's being taken. Some people with All Lives Matter do actually mean it to say All Lives Matter because they don't actually know about what's happening with Black people, or they're unaware, or they're deliberately remaining ignorant to what's happening with Black lives. So they're just being like, okay, yeah, but all lives matter. And then when you try to educate them saying, no, we mean Black Lives Matter too, we're not saying all lives don't matter or your lives don't matter or they matter to a lesser extent. We're just saying that we're currently being targeted. We're the ones being attacked and killed at this moment in time. So we need to make sure that people know we actually also matter in this aspect, basically.
Yeah.
And it also needs to be normalized that people actually can change and change their opinions.
Yeah.
Because like with some people, they are starting to learn and starting to like understand the issues, but then they'll talk about learning and then people will come at them like, oh, but you said this like this year and then you said this isn't this. And I think it's valid for those people to come at them and be like, remember, don't be a hypocrite, you said this. But they need to also understand that this person might actually be changing for the better and trying to like not erase their past but have a better future basically, and not be the same person that they used to be in a sense.
That's the thing, if we still stick to the ethics and rules of the past, then how can that mean we can move forward from the point we're at now? It doesn't, unless we change.
Like characters in a book, innit? Everyone loves a dynamic character who learns from who they were from the beginning, and by the end they're a new progressive hero. Woo, look at them.
Yeah, character development.
Exactly. No one likes those stoic heroes villains that don't learn anything.
Now, if I was curious a lot about your guys' opinions as to how far the protest should go. Like, what do you think is reasonable in a time like this where we should be social distancing and we should be calming the spread of the virus? What's the point as to where protests can get out of hand?
You want to go, Larissa, or me?
That's a really sticky one, to be honest. For me, it's a sticky one. Because everyone's got different reactions, innit?
Because for me, I've got different viewpoints on it. With the protests, I think that they do need to happen. Even though the pandemic's going on, I do think that they need to happen. But people definitely need to make sure to be staying as safe as possible. Make sure to wear masks, washing your hands and everything like that.
Yeah.
And when it comes to them, it's like today with the Manchester ones, I saw loads of people, and it was really heartwarming to see all those people out there. But at the same time, I saw them all standing like right next to each other, all huddled up together, and I was like, for your safety, I'm just...
even in the video that I saw, besides you being outside, which is an added factor, it's better for you to be outside than inside, surrounded by a bunch of people. But if you're outside, that close to people, not wearing a mask, not having any kind of protection.
Yeah.
And in the video I saw, there was a bunch of people not wearing one.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Asking to die.
I think people need to, if they're going to protest, they need to be extra safe because there is still a pandemic. Like, we can't just ignore it just because we're protesting. And then when it comes to the riots, like in America, personally, I don't agree with them. And it's weird to say, like, agreeing with a protest or something, but I don't exactly like that they're happening because, personally, I'm more of a pacifist. I don't really believe in violence being an answer. But at the same time, you can't exactly say that it doesn't work, because the only times changes have ever been made is when people got violent and actually started damaging things, which, you know, actually affected other people, for them to actually be like, okay, maybe let's actually make a change so that they stop harming us so that then we can give them their rights or whatever they want, in a sense. When I got taught about slavery and stuff, I thought Rosa Parks was like old by now, and I think she only died in like 2004, I believe.
What?
From natural causes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
That's really recent.
I don't know where, like, because you know the years things happen, but when I heard that, I was like, what? Didn't she die like 200 years ago? But obviously not, because, you know, not possible exactly.
Yeah, because we're taught about it like it was way in the past and we've changed so
Yeah.
much now. But it was only, she's like
Yeah.
a grandmother.
How do I explain this? Because we've been through many trials and tribulations and we've come out of that. So people might actually tend to see our pain as not as much of a deal, because we've been able to deal with worse, in a sense.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, if someone gets hit by a truck, that's really, really bad. But then if a couple years later they get hit by a car, that's still awful. It's not as huge as this lorry, but it's still awful, and there's still a lot of damage being done.
Yeah, that's actually a really good analogy for it, but similar to that, yeah. With what people need to know, we need to remember that history is taught from the winner's side. Like, the loser doesn't get to write down what truly happened. They can rewrite anything that happened. They could just completely cut out sections of what happened, rewrite it to make them look even better than, like, they're already the winner, but they might have done some pretty dodgy things to win, and they can just pretend that those didn't happen, basically. And then, and like, in history, I'm going to be honest, like, personally, I know about slavery, but I don't know enough about it and so on. I don't know enough about segregation, and it genuinely wasn't taught to me that much. Like, in high school, basically, we watched Roots for like 3 lessons and then we moved on. That's all I remember actually being taught about slavery in high school, at least. Like, they just told us that. They were like, slavery happened, black people were abused. Anyways, now the World War. That's honestly basically
so much about the flipping World War.
Exactly,
I don't even care anymore. I swear down. I know World War 1, 2, like the back of my freaking hand.
Exactly, and it's like
black slavery. Don't know nothing.
And even if we do teach them, we need to actually teach like how difficult it truly was, because there's certain things I understand leaving out because it's honestly just heartbreaking to learn about. But if you don't learn about those things, then you can't actually move forward in the future and make sure not to repeat them. Because there's this quote, and it's like, it's not history, it's history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. And like, you'll see more times where things are similar to other things than when they're the exact same. And it honestly, it's weird, but it happens a whole lot and it kind of freaks me out. But it's
kind of cool. That quotation.
Yeah. And it's like, that's why we need to make sure to teach people about these things and how terrible they were and the outcomes of those things, to hopefully prevent said things from happening in the future. Sorry, my camera keeps shaking.
Yeah, because think about it, the basic bits of ethics from what we know is written by people from God knows how many years ago who only had certain kind of views. These days it's more progressive, but it's still present because it's been instilled by those people from all those years ago.
Yeah, it's like the foundation of which we've built everything else on top of.
Yeah.
So if you're going to re-educate yourself, you kind of need to knock everything else down with it,
and then start
which is hella difficult.
It's annoying because I feel like he's the only person who has the power to to make the laws that we want.
To actually make a change.
Yeah, to actually make the change. And I find it mad that if 20 people truly believe that there should be equality, but one guy sitting on his high seat doesn't, then nothing changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just feel like I feel like we don't even need to educate everyone. We just need to educate Trump. We just need
You know what?
to just
It'd be helpful if we could.
yeah,
It's just for him to have those opinions, stupid, but you're entitled to your own thoughts. But the fact that he is actually racist and sexist, and there are multiple articles, tweets, and everything showing that, and that he is still in a position of power and able to affect us in this way, it's trash. It's actual trash, and it's just annoying.
yeah. And it's mad that he got voted with that kind of
Exactly. When it comes to people that voted for him, like, some of them are because they were racist and they agreed with everything that he was saying, but some of them were mainly voting for him because he was edgy. And I know it sounds weird
It's true
and
though.
stupid, but like, some people were like, oh, some people were like, oh, he's just different, you know, he's
Yeah.
not doing what every other politician has done. He's like a businessman, he's doing this. And so they
Yeah.
voted for him in that sense.
People
And there was once a point where, like, I didn't defend Donald Trump. I'm going to put that out here now, just to make sure this doesn't get twisted. But I was like, oh, he's not that bad. Because I was completely ignorant of everything he'd, like, said. I was just like, well, you've got Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. Personally, you can't win either way. And I still partially agree with that. But Donald Trump is actually a racist and a sexist and misogynistic. Like, I can no longer deny that. I can't stay ignorant to that fact. And I truly don't believe he should really be in power. Like, isn't he meant to be in a peach right now? Come on, whatever happened to that?
true.
Just saying.